So I want to thank everybody for joining so far. Um, Thank you for joining us for this webinar regarding improving site search relevancy for 2023. Together with me, I have, first of all, Mike from Rogers Corporation. I want to thank you for joining us here. Mike will be essentially joining us as giving us a customer perspective from a Cludo, of course, Cludo customer perspective on how relevancy has impacted their business. And so we're very thankful for having you here, Mike, first of all. And then we also have my colleague Connor, who will essentially be helping me out in terms of moderating the chat, because we also have a chat functionality as well as a Q&A functionality here in Zoom. And so feel free to use it along the way. If there's anything along the way that Connor decides is something that we should bring up during the webinar, then, or like during the actual session, then we'll do that. And if there's something that he essentially sees that it's going to be something for later, we're going to have questions section later, and so he'll be helping out with that as well. Cool. So let's get started. Let me just see here. So regarding who Cludo is, first of all, for the ones who don't know, we were founded in 2015. We have an office and started the office in Copenhagen, and then we also expanded to Minneapolis as well in the US. And we also have developers in Portugal and Bulgaria as well. And then we have customers in more than 20 countries, and collectively around 700 customers, really. And then we have performed over 1 trillion searches, which I've tried to, like, it's like a big of a number, and it's kind of hard to understand what that actually is. And I tried to calculate, well, that's around 5,000 searches a second since we started, more or less. Take that with a grain of salt, but that's just going to give you an idea of like what the impact is here. Then we have the fact that we are a search built for websites and apps and internet, really a search solution built for anything digital, and that's the point we want to get across here, and that's what we're good at. So the reason why we're here is to talk about search relevance, and that's the first step we're going to be taking a stab at here in terms of like, what is search relevance? What does it actually mean? Both in terms of like the ranking of the results, but also like what is the overall experience when it comes to search relevance and so forth. And then we're going to take a look at how we at Cludo can affect this relevance in terms of like the 2 different tools we have to tinker with this. And then Mike will jump on and speak a little bit about relevancy from their perspective, what impact it has had on their business, essentially. And then in the end, we'll close it off with some takeaways and some questions. So let's get started here. So why should you even care about poor relevance in the first place? So first of all, there's the fact that it has a huge impact on your brand. So if your search essentially is poorly designed and you have a bad experience essentially using the search, then that will reflect on your brand and make you seem maybe a little bit less trustworthy or of lower quality in general. There's also of course the fact that you give your visitors a bad experience in the first place, and that bad experience will essentially make them abandon you and leave your site, maybe go to somebody else and so forth, which leads to missed revenue. So even because they're essentially going to somebody else, that's potential revenue that you have lost there, right? And even if you are not revenue driven, there is also the fact that there's a cost factor as well in here. So the fact that you might not be losing revenue, but you might be having them call you, or they'll maybe write a ticket, as it says here, or write an email, maybe snail mail, I don't know. But anywho, like somebody will contact your team. You're essentially spending and using your resources internally to essentially cover the same thing that they potentially could have found themselves via your website. So what are the signs of actual poor search? Here are the 3 ones that we mainly discuss when talking about signs of poor search relevance. The first one being searches without results, meaning this is when people search for something and they get 0 results. And that is usually something because of misspelling. So people are spelling something incorrectly, or maybe it's a synonym. So they're using a term that you didn't know that they were using, and you're using your own term for that instead. Or it might even be none of those. It might be just that they're searching for something that you don't have on your site. And it's something that you don't know that they're searching for, right? So that's the other thing, is like, do you even have the insight and knowledge about like that they're searching for this in the first place? And then there's the other one, which is a high number of ineffective searches. Ineffective searches in our mind is essentially as it says here, so it's low CTR. So people are searching for something, but they're not clicking on any of the results. And that essentially gives you, well, tells you that what you have brought of search results is just not relevant to the one searching right now. And then we have the last one, which is low search activity, which usually is something we see a lot. I mean, people don't like have a lot of people searching on their site, and they think like, oh, well, so therefore search is not important. Well, most of the time it's actually a sign of people essentially not wanting to search because the site potentially is bad, and therefore, not searching, and so that can reflect and give you an idea of like, well, if not many people are searching, that's potentially because they know they will get a poor search experience. So what is relevancy in the first place? Well, it's really broken down into 2 factors. One is finding all the items that match a search query, right? So you search for something, and it should bring up all the different items that match that specific search term that you have put into the search. The other part is, once you have retrieved all of these items, listing them or ranking them by listing them at the most accurate results at the top. And this is usually, first of all, as a first step, done based on text. And that is something that I'll dive a little bit more into how that is done. But just know that primarily this is done by text. And then there are some which also allow you to do this based on some business logic. And that's giving you the opportunity to add some business logic on top of your search solution, so that it's not just based on this text, but it's actually based on something else, some other rules you've applied and told it to consider when re-ranking the results, essentially. So how does a search work in the first place, though? So it's all about this finding this finding element that I was talking about in the beginning. How does that actually work? So I'm going to discuss that very briefly and just show you what that actually looks like. So at the time of indexing, meaning when we're essentially building this library of items, of pages and so forth. In this case, I've used this example of a sentence in this on this page that I'm making up, of course, here, but it says the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, and or jumps over the lazy dog, and that's just an example. It doesn't really necessarily have to make sense, and the example of the search query that I'm making doesn't grammatically even make sense either, because it says foxes jumps, right? I know that doesn't make sense, but it's just to give you an idea, get a point across essentially in the end. The important part here is that at the time of indexing, it looks like this. At the time of somebody searching for it, it looks like this. And right now, if we just perform the search as it is right now, it would not find this item with this sentence, because it says foxes, and it says it just says fox here, just singular, right? And there is a comma here as well, which is still there, right? So there's a bunch of processing happening essentially when a search query and an index is coming in, and that results in something like this. So I'm not going to get into like exactly all the different parts that are happening during a processing. Although if you ask, we can get into it if we have time as well. But it's just to give you an idea of like, where, for example, in this case, removing the word the and over and so forth, because these are what we call stop words. We're removing the commas and the dot because they don't need to be there. Like it's not necessary for performing a search. And then we're doing what you can see here is like essentially creating a stemmed version of the word. We're looking for the root version of a word, and we're doing that on both sections, both in the search query and in the index. So now it says Fox here and Fox here as well. And then post-processing wise, we're even further tokenizing this, meaning we're creating singular words essentially out of this, simplified, but like that's essentially what happens. And now we can actually see that we can make the connection between Fox and jump and jump. And this is essentially what happens during a search when it's being performed. Again, overly simplified, but just to give you an idea of what's happening here. Then we have how relevance is actually determined. So what is the main score you can kind of think of that determines and tells you how good your search actually is? Well, it's something called the MRR score, and I'm going to explain it and show it, but it's more like a thing that it's good to know, but you don't have to remember it at all. It's math and it works behind the scenes and so forth. So don't consider it too much, but it's just to give you an idea of how this works in the first place. So the MRR score, or the mean reciprocal rank, is a way for us to find a common denominator for like a score of like how good is the relevancy right now. The way it works is that it actually looks for say this specific search term has been searched for right now, and somebody clicked on the first result. That essentially it essentially goes in and takes 1/1 because they clicked on the first result, and 1/1 or 1 divided by 1 is 1. And if you can see here in the first search, or in the first search term, somebody searched for something, but they clicked on the second result. So that's 1/2 or 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5. And then we have the last example where it's 1 divided by 5 because it's the fifth result somebody clicked on, and therefore it's 0.2. which is in the end results in a score of 1.7. Now you have to divide that by 3 because 3 search terms have been performed, and then you get the score of 0.57, which in this case would be the MRR score. Now do that 1 trillion times, and you get an idea of like how good your search actually is in the end. That's maybe a little bit of the scale doesn't really matter in this sense, but it was just to give you an idea of like how this actually works in the end. But all of this being said, relevancy is much more than just how the ranking actually of the results actually happen, which I'm going to explain here in a minute in terms of like how the ranking actually happens. But just to give you an idea of like the fact that even if we get the ranking right, we might not actually be able to give the user enough information to decide what is actually relevant for me. That's also why we're talking about how the relevance is the overall user experience. It's not about just the ranking of the results, because you can rank the results by, let's say, the best ranking, but if you're only showing the title, then that might not be enough. So that's exactly what I'm going to show here with this example here. We have the case of I'm on booking.com, and this is essentially a stripped down version of booking.com. But you can see how here we have searched for Minneapolis, and I'm now looking at a few hotels, but something is missing. And I actually want to turn to you guys here in the chat and ask you guys to point out maybe what you feel like is missing from this. Is it, I'm not going to say anything right now, but it could be a number of things that is missing here, because right now I'm just seeing an image and a title. What else could I use here to determine what I'm actually looking at, if it's relevant or not? I'm going to try to open my chat, although if you can help me, Connor, just to let me know if, let me just see here.
Nothing in just quite yet.
Not quite yet. Fair enough. I'm going to let it sit there, and maybe people will realize but come up with ideas when I'm actually going to show this in the end. The point being that something that could be missing here is as I mentioned before, the search experience. It's not enough to just show the titles. Maybe you could show together with this a price, first of all, right? Because then I can determine maybe which one is more likely, within my budget. Maybe it could be something with ratings, right? Showing the ratings of these hotels, so I have an idea of like which one is actually better, or what number of stars maybe these hotels have, and so forth, right? So this is what we call display fields. These are the ones where you get more information, more context regarding the search result you're looking at, and it's not just the title and potentially just the description. Maybe there's a little bit more information that I can use to determine whether this result is actually the relevant for me or not. Another type of search experience factor here is something like filters. So being able to give the visitor the ability to tweak the result set, and instead of having 10,000 results, I want to maybe minimize that into maybe 1,000 results, and now all of a sudden I have something more that I can work with. And then once I've done that, I might be able to actually sort them by a factor that is maybe more relevant, so to speak, for me as a visitor when searching, like after I've performed all the filters and performed the search in the first place and so forth, right? Now I can use the sorting to actually sort them by something that is more important for me than the relevancy could be. So this is just to kind of make it clear that the display fields are displaying more context, more information together with the search results. The filters are there to narrow down the number of search results instead of having too many of them, essentially. And then the last one is sorting, where you can actually, create a different type of relevancy that is more relevant for you, I guess. There are a number of other factors we can actually, or a number of other search experience enablers we can actually use to create a better experience. Some of this could be something like a search as you type, where essentially as you start typing, you get search results and you can click on them right away instead of going to the search result page. But if you do end up on a search result page, you could have something like categorized SERP, which is essentially categorizing the different results into these different categories, and then maybe these different categories are also being displayed differently. You can kind of see here in this example with the blog being, having an image, maybe it has a date, maybe it has something else and so forth, right? Versus some of the Help Center articles that they're more straightforward and so forth. And so therefore they're being shown a little bit differently. Or maybe you have something like popular or suggested searches, which these are a way for you to nudge people in a certain direction because you want them to see a specific type of search and you want them to go in that direction, or give them an idea of like what's actually possible to search for on your site. So with all of this being said, this is why the Booking.com's site looks like this instead. And it might look a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but there's probably, I'm going to guess they've done a bunch of research to actually find out that these are the good display fields to use. These are good filters to use. There's a bunch more than what you're looking at here in the screenshot, but just to give you an idea of like how they have built this search result page in the end. So let's talk about how we can actually affect this relevancy. So with Cludo, we have this pyramid. You should think of this pyramid essentially as the bottom layer being the fundamental way of ranking the results, and then the different levels on top, the different layers on top, are the ones that can manipulate or tweak the layers below them, essentially, right? So this is a way for you to go in and actually to have some effect on the relevance, or the ranking of the results in a way that makes sense. So let's start from the bottom and go up. The bottom layer is called Okapi BM25. That's a very difficult name. Again, one you don't have to remember. It's an algorithm which is used by many search solutions out there, and very, very simplified. It looks for documents with pages where the most occurrences of the search term appear. Again, very simplified, but that's essentially how it works. And this score, this algorithm will in the end result in a score, which is what you can see here in this example, where the score is 9.4, and the one underneath that is 6.0, whatever, something. And the point being more that, because this one has a high number, it will score higher, and the one that has a lower score, it will of course be below that. And this score can be somewhere between 0 and 100. And that's where the next step comes in, where we have boostings. With boostings, you're actually able to go in and target this specific score, or like these scores, and add that layer of business logic that we were talking about before. Because the other one is this one, the Okapi BM25, is purely based on text. this one goes in, and this is where you can add that level of business logic as we were talking about before. So you could define business like boostings based on, say, your products, or maybe you really want your self-service pages to be at the top, or maybe you don't want the files to be as high, so you can deboost and deprioritize those essentially. Maybe you want to do it based on date freshness, meaning the newest blogs or the newest news, those should be at the top, and therefore you want to boost those up higher, and then as they get more and more old, you can deboost those and so forth, right? As an example, we have I think a customer who what do you call it now? They have courses as part of their business, and when they have a course, they of course have a certain availability, and then as the availability gets lower, they want to start essentially selling those courses out so that they can get filled up, and then they can kind of move on with essentially those courses. And the way that they're actually doing that is that when the availability status essentially changes to low availability, then it will turn into like an orange visually, and the boosting will actually be applied here so that it actually gets boosted up higher, so that those courses get sold out quicker. And then once they have sold out, the status changes to sold out, obviously, and therefore they want to all of a sudden deboost those by a certain number, by a certain percentage. And what is important here to know is that you could think that, well, they're sold out, why would they even still show them? But that's because they still want people to be able to find these courses, but they don't want them necessarily to be shown at the top. They still want to show that there is a course that you were looking for. It's just not there right now. It'll be back later, maybe at some point, right? The point being more like they can apply this business logic that they had in mind, and that is important for their business, on top of the search, and in that way create a better ranking that is more relevant for them. And then we have dynamic re-ranking, and dynamic re-ranking is our way of adding a layer of machine learning on top of this. So this is machine learning that improves the search results over time based on user behavior. So it takes into account like the number of clicks on a certain result over a certain period of time, and then it boosts that up higher. So in this case, for example, how can search benefit educators? That will go up higher because so many more people have clicked on that, and some of the other ones will start to go down essentially because of it. So this is a way for us to add that extra level of like something that's more dynamic, hence the name, and something that will always stay relevant in that sense. Then we have what we call page rankings. And page rankings are a way for us to give you complete control, because even though we do believe that we have a good search, and it should, with the boostings and everything else that we apply on top of it, you should get the most relevant results. But there are those times where you know best and which results should be at the top for a certain search term. And so this is what page rankings do. They give you the ability to control exactly which search term which results should appear at the top, and then maybe change the priority accordingly. So this is a way for us to give you complete control, even though it's not necessary, but not always at least. But it's a way for us to give you that ability to override everything else that we've done. So with all of this said, this is where, Mike, you come in, and you can tell us a little bit more about how Relevancy has impacted your business and how it is being a Cludo customer, of course. So I'll just let me know when to switch slides and move on, essentially.
Absolutely. So my name is Mike Broder. I'm the senior web software developer at Rogers Corporation. We've been with Cludo since 2017. We've been with them for a while now. Rogers is a global engineered materials company, so we have materials that get sold all over the world. Some of our sales funnels are very long, some of them are very short, so our website is used extensively for research, for people not only to find specific materials, but also to try and find a material that will solve their design challenge. So search has become really critical for people doing this type of research. And there's kind of a number of different things that we've done over the past few years to kind of enhance the search to make it more relevant to our customers. So if we go to the next slide, the first part is ineffective searches. So these are searches where there are search results, but people are actually not selecting any of the results that came up. This was something that we really wanted to take a look at and learn from. Search, especially on the internal search, it was just so critical to be able to see what are people looking for and they're not selecting any of the results. So how can we do better at trying to find a way to get them relevant results, to get them to what they need to do? And the second part is on the next slide, and that is searches that are without results. This is another thing that we really wanted to look at, is people that are doing but nothing came up. And, you know, we really didn't think too much about it until we started to use Cludo as our search, and we were able to see these type of reports. So you can see on the slide there, these are all of these different searches that people were doing where they didn't find anything. And the first thing we would look at them and say, hey, they're searching for this, how come they're not finding it? Well, there's a whole myriad of different ways and reasons why that would happen. So just as an example, we're very specific around our products. So one of the products that we have is called RBAK. It's R backwards slash lowercase b AK. The problem with naming something like that is that nobody ever remembers how to spell it. So when we were looking at these reports, we were seeing all sorts of different ways that people were trying to search for this particular material. We saw it with a dash, we saw it with a space, we saw it without a space, with the other slash, and we saw it with a C. There was all these different reasons why people were searching for it, but we're not finding it. And we were able to handle that by using the misspellings feature in Cludo. We could go in and add these various misspellings so that if people were searching for something, it was misspelled in a way that we could anticipate, and we would learn that by looking at the reports. We could say, okay, this is a misspelling. So if somebody searches for this, you can go ahead and include that as part of the search as well, so that we could actually provide them with a result that was relevant. The second thing we did was synonyms. And here's an example. We have a material type. It's called, and I have to read this because obviously I can never remember it. It's called copper Kapton laminates. And it's a very specific type of laminate that's used in aerospace and defense and outer space and satellites and things like that. We have a material that is copper Kapton laminates. And what we were finding is that they didn't use that terminology very much in the actual page where the result was, but it was a very specific product. So they had a little bit of internal thinking there and said, oh, people would know that it's a copper Kapton laminate, but actually really people weren't. And the product was called XT Duroid. So we were able to add a synonym that said, hey, if anybody is searching for this longer term, you need to point them to this material because this is actually what they were looking for. So kind of looking at those two things, it helped us learn a lot about our customers and about how we could look at all of the different personas that we have. We have 3 major and 2 minor personas, and how can we kind of gear these results towards these different personas. And the last thing I wanted to mention on the last slide, which is something we started doing this year, and that is banners. So one of the things we have a lot of interactive tools where people can go out and they go into these various tools and they can start to filter down by all of the different material requirements that they have. Does it have to be fire retardant? Is there a certain color, certain thickness? There's something called compression, force deflection, all of these different things. You can go into these tools and you can kind of use these to drill down and find a material that's going to help solve your design challenge. One of the things we wanted to do with banners was we wanted to call these tools out. So if people were coming in and they were looking for something like a Bisco Silicones, which you can see here in the results, that's great. We're going to drive them right to the Bisco Silicones page. But we also wanted to be able to say, hey, did you know we also have these interactive tools that you can go to and help you filter down the results to help you find that material. And one of the things we saw on the next slide was a huge amount of activity. We were actually really surprised. There were some of the terms that we used where we were seeing almost a 50% click-through rate. Now, these numbers are a little bit low because some of these have only been implemented for a few months, but it was really kind of shocking for us to see the power. One of the things that we did with the banners and looking at a very specific persona was things like RoHS certifications or MSDS or PSIS certifications and that type of stuff. What we found was we talked all about certifications on those pages, but we didn't really talk about the specific ones. So by using a banner, we were able to say, hey, anybody who's searching for like a RoHS document or a PSIS, MSDS document, that type of thing, we could pull up a banner and say, hey, are you looking for certifications? And this all comes back to what he was talking about before, was the user experience. Is when people use the search, they expect it to be effective in some way, shape, or form to help them find what they're looking for. So if we look at the final slide, there were a number of benefits that we saw through this. Obviously, with our personas, we aim to reach multiple audiences. For us, a sales engineer, a design engineer, or even a purchaser, these are all three very distinct people or personas. But we were able to look at the search results and really kind of gear some of these misspellings and synonyms towards very specific personas. The second one was just absolutely critical for us. Where are these searches going wrong? So if people are searching for something, are they not clicking through? Are they not seeing the researches? That type of thing. We just so badly wanted to improve on that. And we were able to do that using the synonyms and misspellings part. And the third one, as we talked about, was using the banners to kind of feature some of the interactive tools. So people looking for very specific products, we could get them information about the products, but also be able to call out some of the interactive tools that we could have that they could interact with to try and filter down these materials. Because some of them, there may be hundreds of different types of materials. We need to know much more about the specifications you're looking for to kind of help you find that right one. And then finally, delivering that user experience. My master's is in UX, so my passion is how people experience search and how people experience anything that has to do with our website. And we wanted to make sure that stylistically, visually, results, everything kind of as in one big package. We wanted to make sure that that was consistent with everything we were doing with the brand, but also just be super effective in helping people find stuff that's on a site that for us can be very complicated, but we wanted to simplify that a little bit by offering some of the additional features. The last thing I wanted to share, and it's actually from a movie line, it's from one of my favorite movies, but I really encourage you to think about search in this way. And the line is from Fools Rush In, and it says, "You are everything I never knew I always wanted." And that's something that I try and put that in the head of the people that are using my search. Yes, you may think you know what you're looking for, but we also want to show you that plus additional information that's going to help solve your design challenge. So that's our experience with Cludo at Rogers Corporation. I'm going to turn it back over to you. I'm pointing to the screen because you're over there on my monitor, but I thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. That was an amazing quote. I think we're gonna definitely reuse that for sure. I think that's a good one. Well, yeah. Again, thank you for that. I'm gonna end it here with some of the takeaways that I want you to consider when thinking about search. And yeah, so these are really just something to think about, not necessarily go and use right now, because it's kind of difficult to do that with what we're showing here. But it's just something to consider when even consider the fact of like, should you even put more resources into something like search? So think about if your website was down for a day. What about even a month, right? If you're right away thinking like, well, it will be pretty bad, but it would not be the end of the world. I mean, a month, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a little bit more, but still, like, then maybe search is not necessarily the first thing you have to put more resources into. But if you're thinking that if it's down for a day, that's bad, and then for a month that's detrimental for entire business, then you should consider spending some more time on something like the search and spending some more resources on it, because the people who do use the search, and if it is really that bad, that's kind of the equivalent to that of your essentially site being down. I mean, not really, but of course it's the point we want to get across. Is like try to think about it like that. The other one is like, what insights do you actually have about your search, right? What are you actually able to see what people are searching for, and is it categorized into different sections so you can actually make some decisions based on what you're looking at? And then, of course, are you also able to control it? Do you have tools like these to go in and manipulate these search results and the search terms and the experience at the end. And considering the experience, rethink what could be relevant to your visitors. So we were kind of looking at the booking.com example before. I mean, if you're really just showing titles right now, maybe there's something else you can show together with the search results that could make more sense. Maybe it's a label of like, where is this content actually on your website? Maybe it's just an extra filter, because right now you don't have any filters, or maybe you only have a few, but still in a good way. Like, you can't just overflow them with too much information either. But it's just to kind of rethink like what is relevant in the context of the search results that they're looking at. So with that being said, I want to open it up for any questions and hear if you have anything to ask. Connor, is there anything right now?
Yep. So we had one question, and I think that Mike might be able to answer it. And so the question is, do I need to hire a team to manage the Cludo solution? So we're talking about bandwidth.
Bandwidth, yeah.
So from our experience, our marketing team, and I work very closely with them, is very small. We have 2 people, actually 3 total, because we just hired 1 more person. We were able to kind of train just one of the marketing girls that does this very quickly on how to use the tools. The things like setting up synonyms and misspellings and things like that. It's super easy inside of the Cludo portal. It does not take a lot of time to do that. It takes a little bit more time if you want to spend time kind of researching what the reports are. But when you log in, you get a dashboard real quick that kind of gives you the highlights really fast. So you can get a really quick overview. So we don't have a that's specifically around Cludo search. I do some of it, and then marketing does a little bit. We kind of come at it from 2 different angles. We work together on that. So I wouldn't say you need a whole another team now.
Sounds good.
So yeah, like the next one that we had was very similar in fashion, which was how much time you're spending like on a monthly basis, like making any sort of like modifications or reviewing reports.
From my perspective, we probably spend maybe a couple of hours a month total. I know we do much bigger report outs on a quarterly basis, so we kind of actually, as part of our KPIs, report out on searches and what we're doing to try and increase the effectiveness of the searches. But really, just kind of every couple of weeks, one of us will jump in and just kind of review things, and we're looking for anomalies. So we always look at numbers as not like exact specific numbers, but we're looking for anomalies, especially around some of the key points. Like Rogers was just dealing with an acquisition, so we knew there was a lot of searches around that. So we would kind of check that every couple of days to see if there was anything big that we would kind of need to add the synonym to kind of help facilitate the results. So we don't spend a ton of time on it, but we spend enough time on it to spot the anomalies.
And then Daniel, I'm not sure if you see the question that just came up within the chat, which was, does Cludo work with my CMS? So we're asking about like integrations in terms of like, say, for example, do we only work with like WordPress or Drupal or something to that effect?
Right. Well, I mean, Cludo is essentially CMS agnostic, so we don't really care what CMS you have, and we can have our solution implemented on your site, regardless of CMS, essentially, in the end. I think that's a short answer, but of course, feel free to contact us if you want to know a little bit more about how that could potentially work. Is there anything else? Nope. Well, talking about contacting us, if you do have any other questions that are more specific maybe to your needs, then please do reach out to me, and we can definitely take it from there.